Time now for everybody's favorite guessing game, What's My Line? Brought to you by Remington Rand, makers of the revolutionary new Remington Rolectric. Now let's all play What's My Line?
Now let's meet our award-winning What's My Line panel. First, the popular columnist whose voice of Broadway appears in papers from coast to coast, Miss Dorothy Kilgallen.
New York has a wonderful show playing on Broadway called The Happiest Millionaire. The happy star that we're very happy to have with us tonight as a guest panelist is Mr. Walter Pidgeon.
Do I stand up when I say this? Ladies and gentlemen, it's always a great pleasure for me to introduce somebody. Tonight, I don't look forward to it at all, because if I started in to say all the nice things that I should say about the next lady, I am sure that I would be terribly boring, because everybody knows all about the young lady and all about what she's done. So I will just say it is a great pleasure and a great honor for me to introduce Miss Arlene Francis.
Say it.
Well, I haven't got the time, darling, that's why.
And now a gentleman who is not only a friend of people, but a marvelous friend of books, our publisher panelist, Mr. Bennett, Cerf.
My privilege to introduce our famous newscaster and panel moderator, John Charles Francis Davis.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to What's My Line, and it's nice to have some relatives in the audience, I always say. Panel, I've got some great news for you. Blindfolds on, please.
What?
We have gathered together, as is our custom, in this one spot, a very nice group on the panel and some very interesting people who are going to try to puzzle the panel with their occupation. We have a small variation on our usual theme, and so the panel has been asked to blindfold itself. We'll also have a famous mystery guest before the panel a little bit later in the program. Miss Francis, would you put on your blindfold, please?
If you insist.
Yes, I do insist. Absolutely. Got to do it. All right, the blindfold is in place?
Yes, sir.
Then let's see our first contestant. Will you come in and sign in, please? I would like to know, first of all, if you're familiar with our scoring system, are you?
Yes.
All right, fine. If you know what our scoring system is all about, then let's let the folks at home and our friends here in the theater now know exactly what your line is. All right. Panel, as you know, you've been blindfolded because there is an area of identification here. Could be either in costuming, in the handwriting, recognition of the name, some area like that, so we'll not be able to give you any help. We can't even tell you where our guest is from, but we will tell you that our challenger is self-employed, and then we'll begin the general questioning with Miss Kilgallen.
Have you ever personally met anyone on this panel?
No.
That's 1 down and 9 to go. Mr. Pidgeon.
He is personally employed. Is the service that you extend in this employment of yours something that one pays a pretty high figure for?
Most of the time.
I would say, not to mislead you, that it is possible in some degree that it could be considered a high figure. In other instances, it might not be considered necessarily high.
In other words, a man with my pocketbook would be very high, I presume.
Oh, yes, Mr.
Yes.
Yes.
Has it anything to do with the sports world?
Yes.
I can't hear you.
Yes.
You see, I'm a little old. You'll have to speak a little higher.
Boy, making a terrible racket. blanket backstage.
Yes.
Here.
Is that what it is? Thank you, Bennett. That's very nice of you to cover up for me. You have to do with the sports world. Does it have to do with baseball?
No.
2 down and 8 to go, Miss Francis.
Does it have to do with fisticuffs?
With what? Oh, yes, fisticuffs. Does it have to do with
You know, in the
fisticuffs?
ring and all that.
Yes.
Yes.
Have you fought in the ring recently in a championship bout?
Yes.
Well, did you recently
Did you win is the next
replace a former champion?
Yes.
Are you the new heavyweight champion?
Yes.
Well, bless your baby heart, you fought the most wonderful fight.
Floyd Patterson, the heavyweight champion of the world, who is indeed recently come to this honor.
He
Where's
fought a
the crown?
wonderful fight, Mr. Robb. Can I take off my eye film?
Yes, everybody
Sure
up
you
there.
can.
You did fight marvelously.
Thank you.
I bet on the other fella, but you were just great.
As Floyd just said,
Hey, boy, they're fast.
I would say this, though. I think probably everybody in the sports world knows it. But there is perhaps a distinction that Floyd carries that's equal to, if not greater than that of the heavyweight crown, which he won recently. He won a gold medal boxing for these United States of America in the Olympics in 1952, and I imagine that's as fond a memory as you've got, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
I'll bet it is. Floyd, I'm awfully sorry about this panel. They do this to me all the time.
Could we ask
Flip
Floyd
it. He needs the money. He only got about 150.
Flip it, then. All right, Bennett, we'll flip it. He needs it.
Could we ask him when he's going to fight again?
Well, my manager's saying June, probably Jackson, Hurricane Jackson.
Uh-huh.
But I would like to get a fight before then, so we'll probably go on a tour over
Would
in
you
Europe.
like to fight with Marciano?
Well, I would like very much because I think the gait that him and I could bring and the fight that we could put up would be very good.
Think you
How's
can beat
your
him?
baby?
Fine, thank you.
You have a brand new baby, haven't you?
Yes.
Actually, you won a
Congratulations.
title and became a father all within a matter of
Same night.
the same night, didn't you?
Yes,
Just a
the
few
same
hours.
day. It was
Tell
very
me
exciting.
something. When you went into that fight, because now this is a historic area where men are supposed to get very nervous, and you knew that you were likely to become a father very soon. Were you nervous about the fact that your baby was soon due? Did you think about it much that night?
No, I was anxious to get home, and of course that had no bearings on the fight itself.
Not much.
I bet Archie probably figures that it would have been a good idea if you weren't about to become a father. Huh?
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, you fought a good fight, and I must say you fought a good fight here, even though we didn't run as long as you usually do when you're in the ring, and thanks very much for being our guest.
Thank you.
Nice to have you with us. I better get back to the starting position. Our variation on the norms not having done us too much good with the panel tonight. Let's see what we can do with another challenger. Would you please come in and sign in? Right there. Yeah. Yes, indeed, every word of it, too, and I believe you. Now, suppose you translate that for us.
It's not a hieroglyph.
What is
It means Eloisa Elena.
Eloisa Elena. And this is probably the silliest question of this year, but the year is nearly over. Is that Miss or Mrs.?
It's a Mrs.
Mrs.
Yeah.
There'll be no more whistling in this theater tonight, thank you. All right.
But my
Mrs.
husband is not here.
Your husband is not here. Well, that's fine. We'll probably be able to get everybody out of the theater without any trouble then. Well, is it Mrs. Elena? Is that how we're to call
Yes.
you? Mrs. Elena, the panel, if you'll meet them briefly. And then come with me, please. And sit right here. Where are you from, by the way?
Well, I'm from Brazil, Rio de Janeiro.
Oh, wonderful. Would you, by any chance, be familiar with our scoring system?
Of course. I'm a customer of your program.
You're a customer of our
Yes.
program when you're here in the United States.
Of
Oh,
course.
that's nice to know. Then
Coast to coast.
coast to coast.
Yeah.
All right, then let's let the folks at home and those who are with us here in the theater know exactly what your line is. All right. Mrs. Elena is salaried, and let's begin the general questioning with Bennett Cerf.
Well, Mrs. Laney, you're the first Brazilian bombshell we've had around here in quite a long time.
Thank you.
Is there a product connected with what you do?
No.
That's
No.
1 down and 9 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Mrs. Elena, you have such obvious charms and poise. Are you accustomed to meeting the public or great numbers of people at one time?
Yes.
Are you in any sense a performer?
Yes.
Are you connected with music?
No.
2 down and 8 to go, Mr. Pidgeon.
Are you connected in any way with the United Nations?
No.
3 down and 7 to go, Miss Francis.
Have you appeared in pictures, Miss Elena?
No.
4 down and 6 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Miss Elena, does that magnificent physique of yours play any part in the work that you do?
I beg your pardon, but...
Well, I thought I was phrasing that very nicely. Do you do any, does the kind of work that you do require any physical dexterity?
Oh, no.
None at all.
No, that's 5 down and 5 to go, Miss
You think so?
Kilgallen. No, I wouldn't think so, no.
Then may we rule out athletics?
Yes.
Yes.
So you are a performer not connected with music,
No.
and not connected with the films.
No.
That's 2 yes-nos.
Do you ever perform on the stage?
Sometimes. Yeah.
But you could perform someplace else.
Yeah.
Do you do what would be considered... No, I'll withdraw that. Is there anything mental or psychic about what you do?
You mean the mental there in the psychic sense, Dorothy?
Not necessarily.
What do you think?
Well,
I'll
I mean...
split it up, shall I?
No, the thing is that it's difficult to answer the question as we have the term of reference on mental, because we must assume that there is a mental process that one goes through in performing the most simple tasks, you know.
It's only that I was missing those answers of yours, John, that made me ask it. Shall I ask another one? Do you talk to people directly ever in connection with your work?
Yes.
Are they ever happier because of having talked to you?
I think so.
You think so?
Should be.
Do you do anything that could be a nightclub act as well as a stage act?
No.
No, that makes it 6 down and 4 to go, Mr. Pidgeon.
Do you have anything at all to do with the Brazilian government in your work up here?
Oh, no.
No, that makes it 7 down and 3 to go, Miss Francis.
I should think any move she made would be in behalf of the Brazilian government. And the Brazilians have some very nice moves, too, Mrs. Elena. Do you have anything to do with television at all in your country?
Yes.
Do you appear in television, then?
Yeah.
Do you appear... would you by any chance be on a panel program in Brazil?
Sometimes.
How do you say that?
Do we have K.A. Lino? What is my line in Brazil?
Actually, do we? Is there a What's My Line?
Is there a What's My Line in Brazil?
There is.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever have anything to do with it?
Yes.
Were you on it? Were you part of the panel on What's My Line?
No.
No.
That's 8 down and 2 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Let me on.
Don't tell me that the people on the panel down in Brazil have the good fortune to look at you instead of John Daly. The panel.
They are too clever for me.
I'll agree they're too clever.
Yeah.
Some of them. Some of them are. That's Cerf, you know.
Yeah.
Bad man.
I used to watch
You did.
him.
Actually, Mrs. Elena, you did very well, because to clarify any doubts that might remain, Mrs. Elena is the moderator of the What's My Line program in Brazil.
Yeah.
And what do they call it? How do you say it in Portuguese?
Adivinhe o que ele faz. It means guess what he does. Yeah.
Do that again.
Adivinhe o que ele faz.
Adivinhe o que ele faz.
Oh, you've got a You have beautiful accent.
Thank you very much.
Much better than my English.
Oh, no, I must disagree with you. Well, I must thank you very much. It's nice, one, to have a guest from Brazil.
Thank
Two,
you.
we kind of feel a kindredship with you because, after all, What's My Line is a one big happy family. They have it in England. They have it all over the world.
That's it.
And we all belong to the same gang. Thanks
Yes,
very
thank
much
you.
for
It
being
was
our
a
guest.
privilege
Nice
to be
to have
here.
you.
Thank you.
And now, in just a moment, we'll meet tonight's mystery. We come to the special feature of our program, the appearance of our mystery celebrity, for which I've asked my friends on the panel once again to blindfold themselves. Blindfolds all in place, panel?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Good. Will you come in, mystery challenger, and sign in, please? All right, panel, as you know, in the case of our mystery challenger, we go to a different form of questioning. You ask one question at a time in turn, moving clockwise, and we'll begin it all with Arlene Francis.
You in one of the performing arts?
Oui, je suis un artiste.
Gino Pardo.
You call that an answer?
Sure. Mr. Cerf? That was in the affirmative, by the way.
Yes. May I gather from that piping that you are not a singer?
Non, je ne suis pas un chanteur.
Another affirmative answer, Miss Kilgallen.
Are you then what might be described as a legitimate actor?
Oui.
Mr.
We?
Pidgeon? Yes, that's right,
Yes,
Mr.
we-
Pidgeon.
Are you performing on the New York stage right at the present time?
I have often walked down that street before, but not now.
1 down, 9 to go, Miss Francis.
What does that mean?
He's not performing now. He used to walk down that street. Then are you in the cinema?
Quelque temps.
Sometimes I figure that means.
Oui.
Yeah. Mr. Cerf?
Does television see you with any degree of regularity?
Oh, oui.
Miss Kilgallen?
Have you 2 children?
Non, je n'ai pas un enfant, c'est une petite garçon.
I beg your pardon?
C'est
Oh,
une
yes,
petite
that's-
garçon.
2 down and 8 to go, Mr. Pidgeon.
Have you a picture that has just opened recently in New York?
Oui, je pense.
I think so. Miss Francis?
Would one consider you a serious actor as opposed to a comedian?
I would say that we would consider our guest so talented that he would play either serious parts or comedy parts with equal skill.
Thank you very much.
That's perfect, all right. Mr. Cerf?
You sound like the kind of fellow who would tie the heroine to a railroad track and leave her there. Have you ever played a villain?
Hmm? Oui.
Miss Kilgallen?
Are you Yul Brynner?
Yul Brynner, did you say, Dorothy? No. That makes it 3 down and 7 to go, Mr. Pidgeon.
Are you Kirk Douglas?
Kirk Douglas, 4 down and 6 to go, Miss Francis.
Oh, no. Would you be considered older than Rock Hudson?
Isn't everybody?
I think yes.
I just meant you're not considered one of the Bobby Soxer group.
No, everybody is older than Rock Hudson.
Mr. Cerf?
Can I ask you a serious question this time? Do you think you know more about art than Eddie Robinson?
Vise d'arte, vise d'amore.
You do.
Well, I know it's my turn, but I hesitate to say because I've been so wrong all night. Is it Vincent Price?
Yes.
Indeed he is. Actually, this is a serious side of this wonderful man that very few people know. He has, as Bennett knows, and Arlene knows, and Dorothy, and I'm sure Walter do, has one of the finest art collections in these United States, and it travels all the time, even when you can't travel with it.
Yes, but I'm usually traveling with it.
You do travel with it? Were you so busy I thought perhaps it got away from you once in a while and went off into the... But he has more than that. He has this wonderful talent, but yet he has a capacity to come and join what is, after all, a rather simple game and play it with all the enthusiasm that we find for it. And I think that, sir, is a compliment to us. Thank you very much.
So
Thanks a lot, Vincent. It's nice to see you. Well, panel, we haven't managed to fool you so far. Let's see if we can't do it with the final challenger. Will you come in and sign in, please, sir? Leonard? Rick Heimer? How are you, sir? Mr. Rick Heimer, where are you from?
Atlanta.
From Atlanta. It's nice to have you here with us. The panel is there. Come on over here, if you will. I must say a word of thanks, by the way. We ran a little short of chalk last week, so I got enough chalk from our friends this past week in the mail to take care of us for about the next 50 years. You just had a piece of it, you lucky man. You know how we keep score?
Yes, sir, I do.
Fine, then let's let everybody at home, those here with us, know exactly what your line is. All right, panel, we have exactly 3 minutes to go. I'll tell you that Mr. Rickheimer is salaried. We'll begin with Walter Pidgeon.
You are salaried, Mr. Rickheimer. You deal in a product, then. Is this product that you deal in...
Now, are you asking the question, do you deal in a product, or are you going to assume he deals in a product?
Well, I thought I could kill two birds with one stone.
Go right ahead.
But I'm not getting away with it. I'm assuming that you deal with the product.
I do.
Is it used in the home?
Yes.
Is it an article of that would be considered a useful article in the home, or an article more of ornament in the home?
Well, now, you can't ask a double-barrel question. To answer the first part of your question, would it be considered useful, we would say yes.
I know what I'm doing. I was hoping I could trip him, you see, but I can't with you cheap stick. Is this an article that is, I'll put that, is it an article more useful than ornamental?
Yes.
Is it an article that is used in one particular room more than the other?
No.
No. 1 down and 9 to go, Miss Francis.
Is it an article that is carried on the person or by the person?
It is.
Would it be considered an article of apparel?
It would.
Would it be worn by women?
Yes.
Would it show?
No.
2 down and 8 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Mr. Richheimer, could it also be worn by men?
Yes.
Is it worn, would you say, equally as often by both sexes?
No.
No.
You wouldn't say
3
that.
down and don't say any more than no. 3 down and 7 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Well, would this be bought in a department store?
Yes.
Could it also be sold, or this type of product, I don't mean necessarily yours, but this type of product in a specialty store?
Yes.
Is it related to what might be called an undergarment?
Yes.
Would it have anything elastic or confining in it?
Yes.
Is it some type of corsetry?
Yes.
Yes.
Is it a girdle or corset or whatever you call them?
Yes.
Yes.
And
what
do
does
I have to find out what he does?
Rickheimer have to do with them, yes.
Well, do you design them?
No.
No. That's 4 down and 6 to go, Mr. Pidgeon.
Do you put the elastic in them?
5 to go, Miss Francis. And we ran out of time. I'm going to flip all the cards. I'm sorry.
I
Mr.
want him to
Rickheimer?
have the money.
sells them. It's a salesman.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vincent.
He is a salesman for the Crown Corset Company. And now, before our panel says good night, here is a word from our alternate sponsor. I'm sure this is something that's in every one of your minds, but just in case it slipped a few minds, I'd like to just note that if you haven't made a contribution to the gallant Hungarian refugees to help our government and outfits like the Red Cross and CARE and the International Rescue Committee take care of those refugees, do something about it tomorrow, will you? Until next week, this is John Daly saying good night, Dorothy.
Good night, John. Good night, Walter. Come again.
Thank you, Dorothy. Good night, Arlene.
Good night, happiest millionaire. Good night, Bennett.
I'm going to ask Jackie Robinson how you get traded to the Brazilian. What's my line?
Oh,
Good night, John.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for being with us on What's My Line?
Travel arrangements on What's My Line are made through American Airlines. American Airlines flies our contestants in luxurious comfort aboard DC-7 flagships. This has been a Mark Goodson, Bill Todman production in association with the CBS Television Network. Be sure to see Remington Rand's great new television program, Gunsmoke, Saturday night on this same network.